Best of R / Tales from Retail episode 84. Subscribe for edit videos daily. I was working at a clothing store and a customer comes up to the counter for some help. Customer, where are your plus-sized leggings? Me, sorry ma'am, we don't stock plus-sized leggings at the moment. Our leggings are in the accessories area. We do have a plus-sized section over there but no leggings. Customer became very irate. Customer, I don't believe you. Why wouldn't you have them? Go look in the back. Me, I can certainly check but I just put all the stock out yesterday. I know it is weird. We don't get plus-sized swimsuits either. The customer went back and forth with me a bit like that. Her face suddenly brightened, like she caught me in a lie. Customer, well if you don't have leggings, where did you get those? Points at my legs which are, admittedly, wearing leggings. Me, I bought these online. Customer, on what line? Me, pausing briefly to process that you really said that, on the internet, and these are not plus-sized. The customer's face turned bright red with anger. Picture the Queen of Hearts from the Alice in Wonderland cartoon, and she stormed out of the store. I was pretty blown away that this lady not only assumed I was plus-sized, it is rude to guess anyone's size, period, but also that I only wore stock from the store I worked at and that I didn't want to sell her clothing items. That's literally why I'm here. Lady, edited for formatting. On mobile. My bad. Thank you. Next. On mobile. Probably gonna be short. You know the drill. So, I was at work today and it was steady. Not super busy but enough customers to make the time fly. About an hour before I go home, a woman comes up to my register with a small laundry basket full of stuff. We're chatting while I bag her stuff and then scan the basket. I put her bags in her basket to make it easier for her to carry out. She looks through the bags that are in the basket to see if she got any food. Then she pays. I tell her to have a wonderful day, start to help the next customer, and then hear her say I didn't want this and look over to see her motioning towards the basket. She goes on to say I just needed something to carry my stuff in. So I say okay, I'll go get my manager. I finish helping the other customer, get my manager. She does avoid. I give her her money back, and the day continues as normal. No one made a big fuss of anything or got mad, but it still irritated me. This isn't the first time this has happened either. Someone doesn't want to walk to get a buggy, which are at the front of the store, or a basket, which are at the front of the store and the ends of a few aisles. Even though it's a dollar store, it's not big. It would take maybe a minute to walk to the front, get a basket/buggy, and go back to where you were, but they choose not to. I usually have zero issue with this because it's super quick to just run and put it back, but when someone doesn't tell me they're just using it to carry their stuff, then get upset/confused/irritated/etc. Because I scanned it, it's irritating. I mean see Monday, if you're not gonna tell me from the start that you're not wanting to buy something, at least pay attention so you can stop me before/when I scan it and especially before you pay for it. A quick item void is much easier than a full post void, which requires a manager. I can't read your mind. If you put it on the belt I'm gonna assume you want to purchase it unless you tell me otherwise. Don't get me wrong, she was very sweet and didn't get super pissed or make a scene. I just really wish she had clarified beforehand that she wasn't wanting to purchase the basket. Thank you. Next. This is around the early 90s. And we were just a little fotlab in corner of a shop in a suburb of southeast London. But this was also a big money area. We also had quite a few celebrities. Jules Holland being just one of them. We had customers who would go away for a 6-week cruise along the Nile, and come back with a shopping bag full of films. One of our regular customers did exactly that, and came in with 55 films. I looked at her. No, not 1 hour. Go away you horror. Come back in 3 days. Then she ran out of the door pretty much laughing her head off. She knew we'd get the work done as soon as we could. The guys on the counter took the films in and wrote out a job envelope. Just the one job envelope. There are a number of reasons for doing it like that. But anyway, the films were all Kodak Ektar 1000, ASA/ISO. Kodak, at the time, made 3 films in the Ektar range, which, if I remember right, were 25, 100, and 1000 ASA/ISO. But there was a problem, and If I was right, it looked as if it could be a big problem. I knew the customer well, and I was pretty sure I knew which camera she had. But there was a chance I was wrong and she might have used a different camera. So I processed just one film. I took one look at it as it emerged from the film processor, then swore, up, down, and sideways, then got the guys on the counter to phone her, ask her what camera she used for these films, and I'll take a bloody big bet it's a compact. If it is, tell her she needs to come back in, and as soon as possible. While that was going on, and just to be 110% certain, even though I knew I was right, I ran a process control strip through the film processor so I had proof the film processor chemistry was okay. It was. She was back within an hour, with her camera, a compact camera. Some of you will already see where this is a problem, a huge problem. Compact cameras were/are designed to use 100, 200 or 400 ARSA/ISO films. The camera reads that checkerboard of metallic strips on the cassette so as to set the exposure meter for the film speed. And if the camera can't read that checkerboard of metallic strips on the film cassette, it would automatically default to 100 ARSA/ISO. What was wrong with that? It meant that every single negative would be massively overexposed, and that one film we had processed was literally solid black from one end to the other. I asked her where she got the film from. She told me she had been advised by the staff of a well-known pharmacy chain, named after a particular type of footwear, that this was the best film for what she wanted. I sighed. No, not the best. Not even close to being the best. For a start, it's a professional film, designed to be used in SLR cameras. Then I went through and explained what had happened. I also showed her the process control strip, explaining that I had checked the chemistry, just to make sure that it wasn't us that was the problem. She nodded understandingly. We advised her to go back to where she had purchased the films, tell them the problem, show them the film we'd processed, and see if they could pull process the rest of the films. We also told her it was extremely unlikely, more like impossible, but she had to give them the chance. Basically, pull processing a film makes it less sensitive. Push processing does the opposite. Then, when it became evident they couldn't, to take them to the small claims court. We also told her something else. Do not, under any circumstances, enter just one claim for all the films, as she would be advised to do. Insist on doing one claim for each individual film. We told her it'd be a pain in the backside doing the paperwork, but worth it in the end. The reason for this is that it's the small claims court, and they have a maximum payout for a case. So if she won the maximum, for all the films grouped together, it wouldn't be very much. But she could enter a separate claim for each film, and assuming she won, likely, it would be accumulative across all the claims. It all gets added up at the end. She won the case and was awarded the price of the film, plus the price of the processing and printing, plus compensation. She told us that when the magistrate said he was awarding £65.00, including compensation, the solicitor for the other side had smirked, right up until the magistrate added, for each case. She said the solicitor sat up straight when he heard that. Pardon? What do you mean each case? The magistrate calmly informed him that since the plaintiff had entered a separate claim for each film, a total of 55 claims in all, and since the cases were all identical, he could pass one judgment to cover each individual case. Somehow the solicitor had missed that there were 55 separate cases. Maybe he thought it was a typo. Who knows? Then the solicitor protested that she can't do that. But of course, she could, and had. So that would be £65.00 awarded for each claim, a total of £3,575.00. Apparently the solicitor turned rather pale. £3,575.00. Back then that was big money. The customer came in and gave me a whole case of my favorite German white wine. It's as smooth as silk, and the counter guys were also suitably rewarded. Then, she purchased another 50 films, Fuji Reala 200 ISO, and went back and did the whole tour in Egypt all over again. Thank you. Next. 2 weeks ago, on Valentine's Day, a man came to the checkout with a huge unicorn plush and a Valentine's card. Apparently he decided it would be a good idea to write the card in the store, put it in the envelope and seal the envelope. When I noticed what he did, I explained politely that I need to scan the actual card, so therefore I would have to open the envelope. He then started yelling at me, asking me if I've ever worked in a store because I obviously don't know how to. I told him I've worked there long enough to know how to scan a card. He continued shouting at me, commanding me to get up, walk into the store to the Valentines cards, find the right card and read the code. I told him that's not how it works. I am not allowed to leave the checkout and I cannot see through an envelope, so I didn't know which card he took. He then threw the card at me, telling me he didn't want it anymore. I told him I couldn't let him do that. He wrote on the card, so he was obligated to actually buy it. He angrily walked back into the store, found the same card as the one he wrote on, gave it to me, threw his money at me and angrily asked if I didn't tear the envelope. After paying, he took his time to wrap his gift as if nothing happened. Thank you. Next. I work at a grocery store and I do various things. Most days I run the self-checkout. I've never had any big issues with it, other than one guy flipping out on me because he didn't know what place item and bag meant. I know. But the other day, I had a lady come through the self-checkout and everything went alright at first. Then, after scanning her items, she attempted to pay. The only thing wrong with it was that she was trying to force the cash in the chip slot on the card reader. She did this repeatedly. I just sat there in awe while trying to contain my laughter. She walks over to me and says the thing won't take my damn money. I walk over to the register and show her the blue flashing light where you put the cash in. She apologized and said she's stupid. I've never laughed so hard in my life. TL. Doctor woman tried to put cash in chip reader. Thank you. Next. Happened this afternoon. A customer had purchased $10 of Xbox Live currency from the store and went on his way. 4 hours later he called the store stating that the currency didn't work because it had been used already. Not uncommon for codes to be faulty. It happens from time to time. This is where it gets messed up. The customer went on to say that even though he only paid $10, our records confirmed this, and yet his receipt said he had a $30 code. Okay, weird. We tell him to come to the store and we'll figure this out. 20 minutes later he's in the store with the receipt. He tells us how he purchased the currency from our mail manager who had gone home for the night, and that he paid in cash. According to his receipt, that is all wrong. The receipt he brought us was dated from 20 days prior, had my name, not masculine in any way, as the cashier who checked him out. It was $30 not $10, and he paid with a card. Occam's razor, right? We try to tell him he must have gotten his receipts mixed up because again, nothing he says is adding up. Our records confirm he only paid $10 and the date on the receipt is 20 days old, not today's date. The dude insists he didn't mix up the receipts and somehow we're at fault. In the end the evening manager just gave him Microsoft's customer helpline since we can't refund digital codes for any reason, and wished him the best of luck. TL. Doctor. Customer reads expired code off an old receipt, accuses the store of selling him a faulty code. Thank you. Next. So a few days ago, I posted some stories about people trying to come into my store before we open, and after we close. After I posted, I remembered a few another incidents that happened about a year ago in October, and the other maybe less than a year ago. So we were closing. I turned the open sign off, and stand by the door, while I'm waiting for the last customer to get rung through, and keeping an eye on the parking lot for any last minute shoppers that try and get in so I can tell them we are closed. While this is happening, I guess a customer parked in a blind spot, because suddenly he is walking through the front door. I say sorry sir, we are now closed. He then says to me, well your open sign is still on. I look at it to confirm, and see it is indeed off. So I say no it isn't on. I turned it off 2 minutes ago. He then says well, I want to get some keys made. I was getting surgery the next day, and didn't want to stay longer than I needed because I had to get stuff ready. So I say sorry sir, but once we close, our machine has the power cut to it. Won't be back on again until we open again tomorrow. This guy gives this disapproving look, and he shops in the store a few times, and he gives that look when he doesn't get his way. Without saying anything, he turns and leaves. As soon as the last customer is out, I lock the doors. This next one is funny. So it was just after close. The cashiers were taking the registers up to the safe. While I'm waiting, The phone rings. I look in case it's a co-worker phoning, and see a person's name I didn't recognize. I ignore it, as the phone stops ringing and goes to voicemail. About 10 seconds later, the phone rings again. I look, same name on it. I figured after this attempted, he'd take the hint that we were no longer open. But nope. I had to stay late by 15 minutes to do some computer maintenance. That whole time, the phone would ring, and after going to voicemail, would be silent for about a minute, then it would ring again. Each time, that customer's name was on it. I left the store, and the phone was still ringing. Don't know how many times he kept phoning after I left. He must have really wanted something. Not really any drama, but a few incidents I'm sure we all experienced and relate to.